Thanks, everyone, for joining the latest installment of our Game Changer webinar series, where we highlight Front's customers that are using the platform to raise the bar for exceptional customer service. We're excited to have two special guests today, Anna Wetmore, CS Operations Program Manager, and Aaron Forden, Customer Experience Manager at Bentobox. Bentobox is a hospitality tech company that empowers the world's restaurants to succeed in their own mission to hospitality. Restaurants using Bentobox achieve 40% more web traffic, generate 50% more revenue, and welcome 28% more mobile visitors. They help restaurants achieve great results because they're achieving great results too. Bento Box was named one of our knowledge base expert winners and our latest Game Changer Awards for the thorough, intuitive help center that makes it easy for customers to get the answers they need fast. It's just one of the many ways we've set up their team. I'm sorry. It's just one of the many ways they've set up their teams to ensure an exceptional customer experience. Let's dig in a little bit more. Anna and Aaron, thank you so much again for joining us. Can you ground us in Bento Box customers? What makes them and the way they rely on your team unique?
Yeah, totally. Thank you guys so much for having us. We are so excited. As I'm sure you'll hear over the next 30 minutes, Anna and I really love Front. So does Bentobox. Um, yeah, Bentobox really got started on trying to give restaurants and other hospitality industry customers a digital presence that is like beautiful and simple and easy to maintain. But we also understand that restaurants and bars and hotels all have like very slim margins and very slim time limits on how much they can devote to their online presence. So we wanted to set up a system that was really easy for them to communicate with our team, easy to make updates, make sure their menus are up to date, make sure their photos are beautiful and showing what's offering right now. And so we really set up a support team and customer success team, onboarding team that like is there to help them through that. And we try to make ourselves super accessible, which is why Front has been super helpful. We have 3 different channels for customers to get in touch with us if something is going wrong or they need updates. And we just want to make sure that they can devote as much time as possible to making sure their customers are happy. So like that is what they make their money off of, you know? So we're here to help them on the back end so they can do the front end work. That's kind of it.
Great, great. It's like supporting support.
Exactly.
Can you walk us through a typical customer request and how your collaborative setup enables you to answer questions more quickly and at a higher level of quality?
Yeah, absolutely. So our support team specifically, because our support, onboarding, and customer success teams are all in Front. But for this conversation, our support team has 3 ways that our customers can send inquiries to us. So either direct through email, through a contact us form on the website, or the chat widget also found on their website. We do use the Front chat feature for that. Each inquiry will get routed to one of 2 main inboxes. We have a dedicated inbox for our chat, and then the contact form and the email go to a main email inbox. On that inbox, we have routing rules that take over. We have a variety of them. We surface information using our CRM integration, as well as we have rules set up using things such as keywords. And what that really helps us do is prioritize and assign the conversations accordingly to get the right eyes on it. And then we set different service level agreements based on the priority to make sure that, for example, something that's revenue impacting, we'll get that help right away versus maybe there's something that can take a little bit longer, like swapping out a picture or changing some verbiage, not just quite highest level priority as that the revenue impacting. And then we also use some different features to help us follow up with CSAT surveys. And then we have internal workflows for escalation. So if our support team is working for someone that does need to go directly to a dedicated customer success manager, they can do that workflow in Front, get the correct person looped in. Prior to Front, we would have to go outside of our system at the time in Slack, in Gmail, figure out how to get eyes on it. And it was just kind of a really segmented process, not very fluid. So we've been able to see a 50% improvement on our average handle times and then a 27% decrease in the average resolution times.
Wow, that's great. Piggybacking off of you mentioning chat, a big milestone for Bentobox front journey was the launch of your first chat widget. It's one of the most popular support channels. Can you share how you set your chat workflow up to maintain a high level of support that you do for other channels?
Yes, absolutely. So, for one, it is its own dedicated inbox, and we have a specific teammate group that is assigned that inbox. So those are reps that are able to manage chats quickly. They're not necessarily being pulled across our different communication channels. And then we do have a shorter SLA set for our chat than for our email channels. And then something that was really big for us and just the types of requests that we get in from our customers is sometimes it's not an immediate answer. They might need a larger menu edit or website update. And so we do have a process outlined where we can actually then convert those chats to email. We leverage the Asana integration for our task links. That way there is a follow-up process that even if they chat in a request, we can manage it there, but then move it over to email and let them know once that task is complete, because it might end up being, a day or two turnaround time, depending on the task that they need.
Wow. Okay, that's great. So another feature I do want to talk about and give you guys recognition for. I know that you moved your knowledge base off of Zendesk on the front, which means a lot of articles needed to be edited for accuracy. Do you have any practical tips for our audience on how to maintain an up to date knowledge base that's also intuitive to your customers?
Totally. The move for our help center was definitely a big undertaking, but I don't know if maybe this is just us, but sometimes the help center can become a thing that doesn't get touched in a really long time. It's a lot of articles, it's a lot of knowledge and takes a while to sift through and make sure it's updated. But the move really helped us do an initial audit and make sure everything was accurate. And then moving over to front, there are a lot of tools that has since helped us keep that up to date. One of the ones we use really well, or we've been using that's pretty new, is the upvote and downvote feature. So customers can say whether an article is helpful or not. It's not, the most information you'll ever get from that, but at least we can know, hey, someone found this not super helpful. We got to take a look and, reevaluate that one. But I think also what we do is just make sure that we keep our team's eyes on it. It takes a bit of a village to keep these things up to date all the time. So, we have forms where if people see inaccurate information, they can submit it to us and we can update and just make sure that those things are constantly getting eyes on. And I think, our team also uses our help center as like information. Our support team often is referencing that when they're answering questions, they're sending it to customers. And I think that if your team isn't finding it intuitive, your customers definitely won't. So making sure that as long as our team is understanding it and keeping that understanding going, we use that to our advantage all the time. Um, we also have been using, since transitioning over to front, the help center analytics a lot. So looking to see if people are making a search and no queries are showing for them, if they're not, the click-through rate is really low. We're seeing that means people aren't finding the information they want, so we're using that to keep iterating and iterating and iterating on the information we have to just keep it up to date and try to make sure customers are getting the help that they need.
Great, great. Those analytics are key and the click upvoting and downvoting are super helpful too. I couldn't
Totally.
agree more. So,
Yeah.
touching on analytics, can you talk about some of the metrics that you're tracking using front analytics to help improve your operation?
Yeah, absolutely. Front analytics has definitely been a game changer, a really key resource that we need. One feature that we really love is the built-in heat maps. That's something that our team actually used to create manually, just exporting data. It has been so useful to the point that we have rescheduled internal meetings that we found out were being booked over our busiest times for customer inquiries. So we made that change very shortly after migrating to Front. And then we do like to track things like workload by support rep just to make sure that everything is being balanced. We actually moved from a round robin assignment to a load balancing assignment after watching the analytics for a while, and just found that that made it a little bit easier for the team to get through their queues faster by switching to that load balancing instead. We do implement tags, we use them in rules, we use them in analytics. So that is a lot of what we're viewing. What are our customer inquiries about? Can we surface more information in our help center on those things to reduce the number of inquiries that we end up receiving? And then in general for reporting, a lot of the built-in things we like to use, we like to see. So first reply time is one we look for, handle time, resolution time. Those are all things that we manage and monitor with our support team.
Great, great. So looking ahead, how do you see the role of technology in customer service evolving in 2025 and beyond? What's one piece of advice you would give customer experience leaders to successfully meet the growing expectations of our customers?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a big question, right? But I I think that what one of the like obvious answers would be leaning on AI, which I think is definitely something that people should do and can do for things that are, everyday questions, things we're getting a million times a day, menu updates, whatever, something a little more routine. But I think what really is needs to be like taken advantage of by teams is the element of collaboration, which I think is why we lean on front so much because it allows us to easily pivot from one team to another. Support can make sure they're looping in the CS representative to get a question answered fast. We can jump on a call. We can loop other people in on calls. It's just we I think that we underestimate some people can underestimate the power of like a personal interaction, of like a phone call from a rep, of, an actually handwritten email, especially if a customer is having a hard time. And so making sure that that doesn't go away with, canned responses or AI generated responses. I think, especially in the hospitality industry, I feel like our customers know and like they really appreciate that and like that like one-to-one experience. So I think using technology that allows your teams to collaborate is will be huge and like definitely always improves the customer experience.
Great, great. Well, it looks like we do have a bit of time for some questions. So I believe we should start having some come in a moment. Let's see. All right. This one I want to hear too. Um, what is one of your favorite front features that you can't live without?
Go for it.
Internal commenting is huge for our
Yeah.
teams. Not having to go to Slack, not having to use Google Drive to do like shared message templates to proofread and edit. Internal commenting has been a really, really big win for our team. I don't think I
Yeah,
could go back to functioning without it.
I agree. I feel like I'm on like my personal email and I'm like, wait, I can't, why can't I do something? I need more personal notes. Like it is just, it has been huge for our team to have that for sure. I agree. I wish I had a different answer, but I don't think I do.
That's perfect. I actually agree with you as well that commenting part is key, especially, if your team is remote, having those comments right there for catch
Totally.
up and, context are key. Um, okay, here's another question for you. How do you use tags at scale? We have a hard time using them frequently and consistently.
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a lot of rules set up to auto tag for us. So it takes a little bit of time in the front, but then it saves us a lot of time later on. So for example, we do have a list of keywords. We did like a historical pull of inquiries that we had gotten in and decided, is this about an online ordering store? Is this about photography? Is this about menu updates? And so we really let everything run through those rules first. Our reps can change them if it's incorrect or if there are other tags that should be added. And then the other thing is Front does have a feature in their rules where you can actually block an email from being archived unless it has a tag. So that is how you get consistency across the board is enabling that setting.
Required tagging, yes. It is a fail-safe. Okay, so next question. What metrics are you tracking to ensure your knowledge base is an effective self-serve tool?
Yeah. I mean, I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I think that that breakdown of click through in the analytics is really huge for us. I mean, we'll see we especially, I mean, it's getting much better. We're getting a lot of 100%, which is great now. But, at the beginning, things we weren't aligned with maybe what customers were searching. And so if we have a low click-through rate, it just makes me feel as though we're not presenting customers with what they're looking for. So that was been like the most, I think, insightful analytic for us so far. I mean, I also love the just like total views and unique visitors as a person who likes to know who's stopping by. But I think like making sure that regardless of how many people we have, that they are finding the information is really good for us.
Great. Okay, let's see. Next question. What resources do you read, watch, or follow to learn about how to be a good customer service leader?
Good question. I mean, I think Anna and I both attend a lot of webinars like this. We love hearing from other customer service people in the tech industry. Even if it's not restaurant tech, it's always incredibly important and helpful for us. Um, yeah, I don't know. What do you have, Anna?
Yeah, I agree with that. Both Aaron and I also are from the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
So I think there's a part of that too, that we just are very aligned with Bentobox and how they manage customer service. So truly, like on my LinkedIn or other sources that I would look for, a lot of it is very hospitality driven versus necessarily customer service specific.
Yeah, they do align pretty well.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, next question. Do you have advice for someone who's newer in the customer service career journey that wants to move up within the ladder?
Mm. I mean, I will go back to my last point, which I think collaboration is key. And asking for help is never a bad thing. And I mean, this is a great question. So asking for advice is great. But I think collaborating with your team, Anna and I work incredibly closely together. And that means our launches are really successful and we're, building things out that have great communication for the teams. And I think just making sure you're working with the people around you is very helpful.
I would agree with that and ask to get involved if you're interested in projects.
Totally.
Both Erin and I have been with the company for a number of years. She started in the customer success team. I started in the onboarding team, and we both just started getting involved, being guinea pigs for things, piloting new programs, asking questions, giving suggestions if there was something that could work better. So just understanding your workflows and don't be afraid to give feedback and try to make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like both of us in ops, it's a small world, I think, the ops world. So people are always looking for people to get involved in how you can figure out operations and setting up new tools. And, I don't think we would have moved to front without our ops team ever, obviously. So I think everyone needs more people to help on operations. So getting involved is for sure a great, great piece of advice.
Great. Thank you. Okay. You mentioned your Asana integration. What type of tooling do you think is a must-have for support teams outside of front?
Ooh, outside of front. Asana or some type of project management, task management, I would say is very big. We did use Asana before migrating to front and then just leverage that integration for additional efficiencies. Um, I would say internal communication. Again, we love the internal commenting now, but at least just having a defined place to be to ask questions of your team and get help. And then I have to mention just like an up-to-date knowledge base and like where are
Yeah.
you getting your resources, your answers. So I would say those are my top ones.
Yeah, and then, I mean, additionally, I mean, maybe this is what you meant by knowledge base, but the internal knowledge base, having one place where, and this is the thing that maybe is something the Bentobox has been working on for a while, but making sure that you have like one cohesive, consistent place that all teams are keeping their internal documentation is incredibly important and like a great foundation to start on, wherever that lives. Front has a great internal knowledge tool, but this is outside of front. But so wherever it lives, but I think it's great.
Well, thank you. Okay, let's see. Next question. Hot take. Oh, agree or disagree? Do you think AI is a tool that gets people promoted or replaced?
Feels very case by case.
Yeah. I would want to say promoted if people are using it in the way that I said before, where it can replace some tasks, but not all. I would really hope that. I'm kind of a Luddite. I'm like not an AI user at all. So I can't, this feels like a tough question for me to answer. But I mean, in a perfect world, promoted, right? Because you can use it for small things and not, writing your book report. But, but I guess time will tell.
Yeah. Where we implement AI, it means that we have freed up time for people to do new things. So
Totally. Hopefully.
So we're going promoted then.
I guess so.
Okay. All
I don't
right.
want to
That was a
replace anyone.
oh goodness. That was a good one. Okay. Besides chat, is there any other channel that customers really like or want to use for getting support?
I mean, for our customer base, I would say the biggest is phone. Especially since we have a lot of people who are on the go all the time. They're like running in back of the kitchen, whatever, doing everything that they need to be doing. They rarely have time to be sitting down on like an email, on a Zoom, on whatever. So chat is helpful because they can just kind of go right away, and phone is quick because it can, be equally as fast. I would say that's our like biggest. Those are our biggest two, I think.
agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Do we have any more questions popping up? Okay. Okay, we're just going to give a few more seconds just in case we have any other questions popping up here. Okay, and I actually am going to ask a question while we're waiting. Um, very similar to the other one. What do you think is the number one front feature that helped to improve your response times? Or what was the one unlock in front that helped you to say, okay, we can improve our response times by, implementing this tool?
I would say our routing and prioritization that we've been able to set up. We did set it up before macros was released, which I know is doing essentially what we built at the beginning. So just having those not only correct priority and getting it to the correct people, but then having a very easy to follow escalation process. Doing that not only speeds up the response times, but it also reduces the total number of customer touch points because we don't need to stop and say, thanks for reaching out. We're going to loop in so and so to get to your question. We can just get that conversation directly to the inbox it needs to get to so that the correct person is assigned.
Feel like that on its own is like a huge win. Those emails that are like, here I'm looping in someone from our support team, I'm looping in is really just like can be a drain on the customer and on the reps. So I think just like, getting rid of that or at least lessening it was massive.
Okay, great. Always love hearing those features get people excited in the support world. So do you think the role of support agents or how support teams look will actually change with AI? Like, did you imagine hiring in the future where AI will prompt engineering, or do you think it's going to be part of the job description now?
Um, I mean, for us, like I said before, I think our that like hands-on communication is really important. I don't know if I can speak to the like tech at large. Um, don't put that on me, but I think that it will become more part of the role. I think we already use email templates, but I can see a world where like, generating email responses to things like menu updates saying like, hey, yeah, we'll get that back to you in 3 days. That kind of stuff feels to me like those parts can, be helped by AI, but we really like the personal experience and communication, especially with things that are a little bit more touchy or difficult, um, is really important. So I think it'll always, be a part of the role for sure.
Yeah.
Great. Um, hmm. Okay, I think so. All right. And actually one more question following up in regards to AI. How do you present using an AI tool to your team? So much as so more being like an assistant, not necessarily replacing the job. How do you present that to your team?
Yeah, really for a lot of new process or workflow changes, we always like to kind of pilot it with just a few people to make sure that yes, this supports our workflows, they see advantages, we can, figure out the right way to present it. And then we do just that. We present it in trainings. We always have extra materials to go along with it so that they understand not only how to leverage it, but when. Because I think there are sometimes you have tools you don't necessarily need to use them, but then there are other times that it's, yes, this is definitely going to make my job more efficient. This is a good time to use it. So we like to present it as a tool so that they understand when they can implement it.
Great, great. Just a few more. We'll wait a few more seconds just for any additional questions. Okay. All right. Okay. I think we have answered all the questions that we have. Just to let everyone know that this recording will be available shortly, possibly tomorrow, I believe, or sooner. And I want to thank everybody so much for joining us for this episode and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much, Anna and Aaron, for joining us as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.